Peace family. So I'm back with another one. Today what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk to my chosen ones about how sometimes when you time travel, it will seem like you're in a sunken place. You know, the sunken place, we all know that that's not a really healthy space. You know, it's usually like kind of like the movie Get Out, like you're allowing other entities to control your vessel. So the similarities from like what I've been processing this weekend, because I've been doing like a lot of meditation in this space and just reflecting on my own times when I was either near a sunken place or it felt like it. Now, a lot of the biggest things that you will be able to notice, whether you're in that sunken space or whether you're in a deep time travel, and your time travel could be in the future or in the past. I'm usually deeper. It takes me more energy. Usually most people, to be honest, it takes them more energy in the future, in the unknown space. But I was processing this weekend, I was realizing like you can tell the difference by your results when you come out of that space. Your results when you come out of that space is always going to show whether you was in an unhealthy space or whether you just really needed to exude a large amount of focus, attention, and energy in the spiritual realm into figuring out, processing, getting to the location or parameter, whatever it may be that you needed to get to. See, because a lot of us forget that it requires a lot of focus and energy. We use a lot of energy even if we're not physically active. I mean, we all was little once before, and we all still think that, oh, if you let your kids run around, it'll tire them out. Not necessarily all the time, you know. That's why people be like, oh, they got a lot of energy. For us adults, we understand, okay, we're not in that part of our phase anymore. We're in another part of phase, and now we understand the energy a lot more. So that's why when we get around people and they sit beside you, spent days with people or spent a day with someone and you was completely drained and y'all didn't do any physical activities. We understand all of this to a small degree, but the more you dive in, the more you'll understand how in depth it really is. So when you are traveling, and I would just say for me, because I was doing some diving this weekend, I realize when I'm in the future and I'm trying to get things figured out and I'm really focused, my body kind of goes on autopilot in the 3D realm. Meaning that I'm still active, I still do my day-to-day daily routines, but my focus and my attention and my energy is so like almost not maxed out, because I'm still using some energy through the day. It's almost at its max potential because I am trying to get to this location that I haven't been to in the spirit world. And we all understand that you have to get there in the spirit realm. You have to create it first. You have to put yourself in that proximity first before it happens out here in this physical realm. So when we putting ourselves on autopilot, it's kind of like when you just wake up and you go through your daily routine. You know, you get up, you do whatever it is you do in the AM, you go through your workflow day. Every day almost seems exactly the same when you process and you rethink about it. But when you actually are out of that space, you be able to look back at all the little steps that you took in between those regular days for you to get to that new location, space, that thing, whatever it is where you was focusing that energy at. But to the people on the outside looking in, it look like you just in robot mode, like you just going through your regular routine, and then just bam, a shift or a change just happened. When that's not how it really happens. You put a lot of time and focus and energy into that thing, whatever it is. That's why for the ones who are in the sunken space, they usually are stuck in the past. That's how you usually can tell the difference. If you look like you're in a sunken space and you look at somebody else who look like they're in a sunken space, look at the results after a certain time period. You know, that's always gonna give it away. I had to experience this in numerous times throughout life for me to be able to go back to reflect on some of these examples, for me to even kind of be like, oh, okay, now I see, and it makes more sense. And when you moving more, you know, in your godlike, then you're going to be allowed more access to new information. You know, things are going to be shown and given to you. So it just put me in a better space of being able to understand, like, when you have that 1 week or that month or two, it depends on how big it is, depending on how long you've been focusing your energy in that space. You know, people think that you might be in a sunken space, or you doing bad, or you down and out, because the way society is set up, you got to be super engaged with this physical realm 24/7, when we already understand, like, that's why we all understand this physical realm is secondary. This is secondary. This is a manifestation of all of our collective energies and vibrations, bringing all of this together. This doc, multiple minds that put this together, and now all of us get to experience this. You know, I'm not even sure if this is man-made or natural pond or lake, but either way, even if it was a natural, it was still minds put together to create the concept. Let's mimic the natural flow of things out here. So just remember and just pay attention to, like, the results of what's actually happening with you. And that comes to just being self-aware and being able to acknowledge and be willing to reflect on some of the things that you experienced and went through. Because I know some of the times where I was in that weird, hard space trying to figure things out, I was also fighting a spiritual battle too. But on the outside, it looked like I wasn't doing shit. It looked like I was just doing my regular working, you know, my regular routine, put out some knowledge here, there, you know, maybe get me a little gaming in here. It wasn't anything over the top. And then, bam, soon as this part of the battle was over, or taking a break, whatever was going on with the battle part right here, because most of the time inside was spent taking on this battle, putting these future plans and steps into place. And that requires energy. So you're not always going to be able to engage with this physical realm the same way, meaning you're not going to be able to always go out to all the same food place that you used to go to. You know, you're not going to be always able to go to the same, like, little weird lounges or chill spots that you used to go to. You probably won't even be around some of the same people that you was when you was in that space. And I know a lot of us bounce back and forth between actually being quote unquote, like, in that sunken space. I don't really like calling it depressed, you know, because I know the ones of us over here, like, we done fought through a lot of shit. So, like, that's not the space that we live in. We know a lot of spaces, we know a lot of realms, but that's not the space we live in, you know. So just being mindful of these things, just about, is like how much energy you're actually using and applying in the spiritual realm. And you'll know by how hard you have to focus or concentrate. So it's kind of like, what would be a good example? This weather is a little trippy out here today. It's a lot colder than it looks, so it's actually making me focus and concentrate a lot harder, so that way my body isn't cold. But I was in the process of giving an example, but you can think of and put different examples in place for some of the things that I've been given, you know. But you just have to be aware that your energy, you're given a certain amount throughout the day. It's kind of, look at this as like the cell phone is a replication of us, you know. Like, it passes and transmits information. It can download and upload. The cell phone can download and upload the same way we do. You know, it's a replica of us. So we all know that you have to charge your phone up in order for it to charge faster. So charging the phone would be like us when we sleep, which we call sleep, which we go somewhere else and our bodies start doing that thing that it does, working that magic and healing and charging and doing all that. When your phone needs to save battery, which is kind of like you trying to give it life, is when you look at the reflection of that for us, that's when we feed ourselves food, knowledge, information, what we watching, seeing, hearing. That's how we are keeping ourselves a little bit more charged throughout the day. But look at the phones. When you got all your apps running and everything running, it's draining you fast. It's draining your phone fast to a point to where now you got a bad battery. Now even when you charge it, it's not even holding charge very long. So that's kind of like when you sleep, you don't even really get to sleep that good. You don't sleep well at all, so you always waking up restless every day. All your energy is always like you going to sleep and you're supposed to be charged back up to 100%, 80%, 90%, depending on what time you went to sleep. Kind of like your phone, what time you put it on the charge, how much time you getting back to it. The same way. But when you restless, it's like you only waking up in your phone, and you is only at like 30-40%. You ain't even above 50%. Oh, I tell my many and one that I talk to in my real lifetime, energy, vibration, and frequency. We should think of this realm in these three forms: energy, vibration, and frequencies. We always emitting, we always giving, we always receiving. That's why it always feels more peaceful when you come out into nature. Because it is. It's not as much information being admitted. You're not like, light post light, green lights, advertisement signs. This car riding past you that's in a better car than you. So now you good in your car, but now you're like, damn, I could want another car or something like that. Or, it's a whole bunch of information being admitted that's kind of making your energy meter and bar go like this. But when you come out, it's not as much competition. It's not as much of, that's a great word. It's not as much competition and energy pulling for you to have to manage and deal with. The more we get to a space to where we can understand that we are electrical beings, that's why we can shock each other by rubbing our feet or something on like some kind of carpet, or even when you outside, if you got little ones or was young at the park, you can still shock each other on like just touching the slides. Like a lot of these things we don't look at that deep, but the people who are in charge do. The people who are in charge do. That's why you notice a lot of stores don't have doorknobs. Most of them got the push doors, so you can use your arm. You don't have to use a whole hand, but most of the locations with doorknobs, everybody's touching, turning, pulling. You don't see the hospital with a whole bunch of doorknobs. The people that structured, the people that restarted, like restructuring this out here, because everything starts from the light, and then that's when it gets twisted and turned. And when you start to understand these things, you won't beat yourself up as much. Like when you get to them spaces to where you feel like your life isn't exciting right now, but you one of them beings that's always figuring things out, and you always taking and making new steps and making moves and doing things, but you just at a certain point in time in your life where it's just like everything feels stagnant. But that in here you got way more action and it's way more active in here that you are in the process of about to apply, because you've already got examples in your lifetime now to where you could look back and be like, oh, okay, I was there before, or I remember that space. We just always don't take that same angle as an approach as what I'm trying to give now for when we think back and look back when we was in those spaces. But we all supposed to be out here sharing knowledge and information. So if it's things that, you know, one knows, then, you know, he should be willing to share and give. So that's kind of like me. So I don't get into all that the other antics with the back and forths and all the things that come with, like, just putting yourself up in the forefront and having to deal with other beings who are also in the forefront. You know, I got the sun, you know, the creator. That's the vibe. That's what I follow. That's what it is. You know, natural law always comes first. You can follow natural law, understand that you're an energetic being, a spiritual being, having a human experience. It's gonna make everything that you go through and that you have to experience smoother. I'm not saying it's gonna make it easier, because we're in the middle of a war. So if you're looking for easy mode, there is no easy mode. Because even the ones who complacent, they are horrible in the inside. And then us out here, we're great on the inside. We just have to battle on the outside, you know? So that it's a battlefield. You can be complacent or join them and be ignorant, ill-intentioned, and all the other disgusting witchy shit that come with it, and have to sit and suffer with it on the inside. Or you can stand up to it and have to fight it consistently. Everywhere you go, you know, everywhere, because it's the road less traveled, you know. But I ain't want to run it up too long. Just be mindful that we do time travel. You do use a lot of energy. You may not be in the sunken space because you are traveling, focusing your energy, which you have to use, and we're limited to how much we get throughout the day, you know. So don't beat yourself up if you didn't get a million things done throughout the day. Just understand that, okay, I got the next day to get those other little ones done that I got to get done, because that's probably like part of bills or cleaning or just something basic that has to be done for this physical realm. But just know that when you focus in your energy, that requires a lot of attention, and that will drain you a little bit faster than what you actually understand, you know. But tapping everything down below. Peace and love to the kings and queens.